Now in chapter 29 we have a scene which appears very familiar, though with some differences. Once again, a significant meeting takes place at a well, and the watering of animals is involved. This time it is Jacob who waters the animals, and he needs no oracle from the Lord to know that this is the woman he wants, for we are told that she is beautiful. The well is protected by the herders, who would often keep the location of wells a secret. It is unusual that Rebekah is herding the flock, as it was risky for her to be out in the countryside, but a lack of sons would necessitate this. Laban greets Jacob joyfully and says, "Surely you are my bone and my flesh," which is similar to what Adam said when he first met Eve. It is an expression used with close relatives. Jacob has come empty-handed, however, unlike the servant sent by Abraham with his 10 laden camels. The greedy and cunning Laban will find ways to extract gain from this potential new son-in-law. Laban poses the question, "What shall I pay you?" Jacob negotiates the marriage. The bride price will be 7 years of labour, but for the younger daughter. Laban has an opportunity here to object and inform Jacob of their custom to marry off the elder daughter first, but he does not take it. Has he already decided what he will do? Or does his instinct tell him this unusual situation can be manipulated somehow further on down the line? We are given the note that Leah's eyes were weak or soft. The NRSV translates this word as lovely, but I think that's a mistake. They may have lacked sparkle. Whatever the problem, she is overshadowed by her younger sister, and it is a shameful position to be in that Jacob wants to marry Rachel instead. 7 years of labour is a high price. A typical bride price in a similar ancient culture was 30 to 40 shekels of silver, and a shepherd would earn 10 silver shekels a year. Jacob will happily pay 70, and indeed much more besides. As Jacob swapped himself for Esau, so Laban swaps Leah for Rachel. The bride would have remained veiled during the marriage, but Jacob would have removed it later on at night. Perhaps there had been too much wine. However it was achieved, the deceiver has been deceived. Uncle Laban is a crafty swine. Only now, 7 years after the negotiations, does he present Jacob with the custom of marrying the eldest first. Presumably, whilst Jacob's jaw is still on the carpet, Laban now gets to really feather his nest. Having held back the desired one, he can now sell off both daughters, which he would otherwise have to continue supporting, and he will get another 70 shekels worth of labour for it. Not only that, but as we learn later on, Laban's wealth is considerably boosted by Jacob's quality work, and later when Jacob wants to leave, he tries to retain him. Before that, though, we have the sad struggles of Jacob's wives. Rachel and Leah are rivals. Jacob clearly loves Rachel, and Leah is unloved. But Leah is much more fertile, and with each son she bears him, her hope grows that she will finally win Jacob's affections. The battle is extended to their maids, and now Jacob has the task of regularly impregnating 4 women. The sisters even bargain with each other over Jacob, and despite how intriguing this situation may sound to some, it can't have been a happy time for any of them. Rachel's position in particular was precarious because her infertility might have seen her abandoned, though that seems unlikely with Jacob. Regardless, she gains her children, both one of her own and those of her maid. Leah also gives birth to a daughter, Dinah. This may not have been the only daughter, but she is noted here because she returns to the narrative later on. Laban attempts to trick Jacob again. Having agreed that Jacob might take the speckled and spotty sheep and black lambs and speckled and spotty goats, Laban has sneakily removed them from the flocks. But this time, Jacob outwits him. Using a combination of brains and folklore, he is able to breed a large and vigorous batch of animals, leaving Laban with weaklings. Thus he becomes exceedingly rich. What do the strict rods mean, and how do they work? The idea is that an object can be used to affect or influence another object or person. This might be, for example, a woman wearing certain colours to make sure she will have either a boy or a girl. This practice was known as sympathetic magic. We see another example of this in 1 Samuel 6:11, when the Philistines, having suffered the punishments from God for having captured the ark, send it back with golden mice and images of tumours. In this case, the mice and tumours represent their afflictions, which they hope will be taken away. Once again, we are confronted by the strangeness of this ancient world. But for now, for all the difficulties, Jacob has been blessed with a large family with lots of possessions, though he is still far from home.